Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video, I'm going to tell you about a PNP program, a Provincial Nomination Program for Canadian immigration in 2021 and hopefully in 2022. They're going to keep the same policies that allows you to claim points for a friend. Yes, you heard it right, because all the PNP programs, all the express entry programs, you would need a relative, you would need a job offer, you would need studies, you would need education. I mean, all these ties are required for Canadian immigration and the PNP programs to gain extra edge, right? But this is the only PNP program for Canadian immigration that allows you to claim friends points. So if you have a friend who is living in Manitoba, we will talk about that in details, then you can claim points for that, and only then you will become eligible for applying to the MPNP program, Manitoba Provincial Nomination Program. Now, MPNP is a program that needs a connection. We will talk about all that details in this video. But just giving you an overview, Manitoba is an interesting province. It is between Saskatchewan and Ontario. Okay, and also Manitoba is known to be home of polar bears, and they have a jail for polar bears, and especially in a particular area, people do not lock the car doors, so that if a polar bear attacks you, you can actually open up a car door and get inside that car so that the polar bear cannot hurt you. And they have a special emergency response for polar bear as well. So an interesting province, and the most beautiful thing about this program is that they allot you friends points. No other province in Canada does that. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's start the video. All right, about the Manitoba PNP program. If you're looking for study options, then consider Manitoba among the list of Saskatchewan and the Atlantic provinces to be student friendly in terms of gaining PR at a later stage, because the University of Winnipeg and Brandon University and University of Manitoba, so these are the famous universities there, and your PR will be a smooth process if you follow all the criteria and obviously the eligibility factors. But not talking about that, talking about the MPNP program. Okay, my screen shows this is if you want Manitoba to be your new home. Okay, so the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program, MPNP, it has basically substreams. These are the substreams, but we are interested in the skilled worker stream, and I have opened this page right here. Okay, and there are two kinds of skilled worker streams in Manitoba. First one is for the skilled workers who are in Manitoba, and the other one is for the skilled workers who are overseas. Okay, now we are only interested in skilled worker overseas, because obviously my channel is focused on the people who are going to apply for Canadian immigration. So skilled worker overseas. Okay, so this is an overview of the program. The skilled worker stream is locally driven, and it is based on the needs of Manitoba employers. What does it always mean? Whenever you read this statement, you should know that this will be a NOC based program. They will have certain NOC codes that would be in demand. Okay, and I will make more videos on the jobs in demand and what are the excluded options. So stay tuned, because more Manitoba videos are coming up after this one. Okay, now there are 3 steps to apply for Manitoba Provincial Nomination Program, but before that, you need to have an established connection to Manitoba. Okay, and it could be through the support of your family members or through your friends. Okay, and through your previous education or work experience in Manitoba, or through an ITA received directly from the MPNP program as part of a strategic recruitment initiative. Now this strategic recruitment initiative is a beautiful thing. I have talked about it in a couple of videos briefly, but I'll make a detailed video on that one. Okay, that is a promise. Now let's talk about the steps. The first step for MPNP is obviously this is a program that is linked to your express entry profile if you have it, but you need to create a separate expression of interest if you want to apply to MPNP. And for that expression of interest, you need to have an established connection, as I just discussed a minute ago. Okay, so we are going to talk about submitting an expression of interest and what is the eligibility for that. But after you submit your expression of interest, you need to keep an eye on the Manitoba draws, the ITAs that they issue to the people who have created an EOI on their portal. And the third step is that MPNP will follow a thorough assessment, obviously, and the successful candidates who would be able to prove their ties to the connection, even if it is a friend, who would be able to prove their work experience in a proper way, and all the other mandatory things. After that assessment, Manitoba will give you a nomination, and that nomination will add 600 CRS points to your express entry profile. And in the next express entry draw, whether it is a PNP only draw or a no program specified draw, you will be getting yourself selected because of those 600 points. Okay, now let's talk about the labor needs, the eligibility factors, how you can determine whether you are eligible for MPNP program or not. But before that, I want to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, Skillshare. For those of you who don't know, Skillshare is a completely online learning community, and they have thousands of inspiring classes to enhance your skills. So they have classes in graphic design, UI UX design, web development, marketing, and entrepreneurship. I took a class with Marcus Brownlee, who is everyone's favorite YouTuber. I mean, who does not know Marcus Brownlee? And his class name is YouTube Success with Marcus Brownlee, who's also known as MKBHD. Now, the one key takeaway from that MKBHD video that inspired me during the class, he said that the numbers won't mean anything to your audience unless there is a concrete information behind it. Like if I say that 60 points are eligibility factors, it won't mean anything unless I explain it to you. So like me, if you want to enhance your skill set, Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, and they don't bother you with ads. So Skillshare offers memberships, and the first 1000 of my subscribers who are going to click the link in the description of this video, they would be able to get 1 month of free trial on Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. Now, coming back to the topic at hand, what is the eligibility criteria, the point assessment? I'm going to discuss that in detail. Okay, now in addition to establishing a strong connection to Manitoba, every candidate who wants to be considered under the Skilled Worker Overseas stream, SWO, okay, it is the acronym for Skilled Worker Overseas, must score at least 60 points based on 5 factors. Now let's talk about the 5 factors. Okay, the first one is obviously language proficiency. So talking about the CLB level required, if you have a NOC code C or D, then you need to have at least CLB 4, which is obviously the minimum level. Okay, but of course that's only the minimum level. That does not really mean anything. So if you have CLB 8 or higher, that's all you need. CLB 8, that is listening 7.5 and 6.5 in all other modules of reading, writing, and speaking. You only need 6.5, and in listening your score should be 7.5. that is CLB 8. So if you have a score higher than that or CLB 8, you will be awarded 20 points. Okay, now just start calculating these points according to your case. Okay, because CLB 8 is the minimum. If you go below CLB 8, you should look for other opportunities. I'm sorry about that. And if you have a second language, a CLB 5 in French, for example, you will be given 5 extra points, but we're going with 20 points only. And the factor 2 is age. And the good news is that they like people between the age of 21 to 45, which is a huge age gap. I mean, most people fall into this category. And if you are like 44 years of age, you would still be getting maximum points, that is 10 eligibility points. Okay, so we add these 10 points to the 20 points that we calculated earlier. Now, third factor is work experience. We already have 30 points and we need 60 points. Okay, just keep that in mind. Keep the calculations running in your mind. So if you have a work experience of 4 years or more, you will be awarded 15 points. Okay, now that is 45 points in total, right? So if my math calculation is wrong, you let me know about it. So factor 4 is education. All you need is a master's degree and you will be getting 25 points. Your points will be 70 in total. 45 plus 25 is equal to 70, right? And another good thing about MPNP is that if you get 2 or more, Saskatchewan, like for example, Saskatchewan will not give you any points for 2 or more. They will give you a point for bachelor degree. But as you can see right here, MPNP will give you points for 2 or more bachelors. Okay, that is 2 post-secondary programs. Whereas, as I said, SINP will not award you extra points. They will award you points equal to bachelors only. So this is a great thing. Now you have 70 points and you are eligible for MPNP just by that. But obviously you need to have established connection, which in this case is going to be your friend. If you don't have a distant relative or a close relative for that matter, then your friend will be your eligibility factor. Okay, now we add these friend points. Factor 5 is adaptability. Friend or distant relative living in Manitoba, you will be awarded 10 points, and these 10 points will make your total eligibility points to be 80, which is massive. I mean, you needed 60 points to become eligible, as it's written right here. Let me find that again. Okay, skilled worker overseas stream must score at least 60 points based on 5 factors in order to be eligible. This was the 5th factor, adaptability. Now you have 80 points and you are ready to go in and create your expression of interest, all guns blazing, right? But before I close the video, let me give you one last important detail about this, is that if you, some people, some of my subscribers, they have a combination like 2 months in a company, then 3 months in another company, then 4 months in another company. This makes their work experience ineligible for Manitoba, because it's written here, only full-time jobs of 6 months continuous or longer are considered. So if you have full-time jobs but for 2 months, 5 months, 3 months, then you cannot count that experience. Okay, and your full-time employment must be in the past 5 years at the time of your application submission. Okay, so this was all about the MPNP factor points. And these are the eligibility points. Like you calculate your eligibility points for express entry, where you need to score 67 points. Everybody knows about it, right? If you don't know about it, then I don't know what have you been doing on my channel for that long, because I talk about it all the time. So the minimum eligibility points for your express entry are different from your CRS. Now I'm giving this example so that you will understand this. You first become eligible by scoring 67 points for creating your express entry profile. And when you create your express entry profile, then you are allotted CRS points, comprehensive ranking system. Okay, these CRS points will be 400, 500, 600, whatever. Okay, so just like that, MPNP, first of all, you need to determine your eligibility. And this eligibility will be established upon your adaptability and your ability to score 60 points at least in all of these 5 factors. Okay, so after you become eligible, then you would create your expression of interest, and after your expression of interest, you would be allotted some points. Okay, and these points will be like the CRS points in the express entry profile. These points will be 400, 500, 600, or however higher you can go. Okay, so I will make another detailed video about those point system and how can you calculate those points, and the MPNP draws that are held separately from the express entry draws. Those draws will have a cutoff score. Okay, and that cutoff score will be based on those points. That cutoff will not be based on these minimum eligibility points. I hope everything is clear in your mind, and if it is not, then wait for the next video where I will talk about the Manitoba PNP self-assessment points, and also I'll make another video about how you can prove your relationship with your friend or with your close relative. Okay, now these are all going to be very important videos if you want to apply for Manitoba PNP program. Okay, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any update that I post on my channel through my videos. And thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. This is Iftikhar, and I'm wishing you guys all the best.